Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I will be reviewing Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev, where we saw Beterbiev become undisputed light heavyweight champion. Also, I will be discussing the judges' scorecards for that main event. As well as that, I will be talking about the co-main event where we saw Fabio Wardley knock out Fraser Clarke in the first round in an absolute epic fight, as long as it lasted. And we'll also discuss about the other big topic this week, which was Chris EUBANKS Jr. and Benn, which is a fight that no one wants to see. But before we get started, everyone, make sure to hit the like button, share button, and subscribe button for more great content. UFC, MMA, boxing. If you want to see that, then you come to this channel right here. But also make sure to sub to the Sanderson Show, which is Callum's channel, and also subscribe to Jamie Phillips Football Chats. And also, I will put the link into the link in the description for the watch long I did for this main card event, which was about 6 hours, was way over 6.5 hours long, which was absolutely mental. But thanks to everyone that tuned in for that watch on, by the way. It was a good watch on, good conversation, good fights, good talking points. We'll probably do another one of those watch longs again. I'm not too sure when, because I think Usyk Fury is about around Christmas time. I don't know whether I could actually be around for that. So it might be a bit of a difficult one to pull that off, but we'll see what we can do. But main event time caused a lot of controversy, where we saw Artur Beterbiev become undisputed light heavyweight champion. That bit's not the controversial part, because as I will discuss, the scorecards were a little bit. One scorecard in particular, the one that scored the fight 8-4 to Beterbiev, that was mental, because for me, this was a really close fight. For me personally, right? Me and Callum were scoring it on the watch long. I had Bivol up 2. Personally, I had Bivol up 2 at best. I've rewatched the fight, and I had Bivol up by 1. I had Bivol up by 1. It was that close, but it wasn't a robbery. Some people have plastered over online, Eddie, oh, it's a robbery this, robbery that. Just because it's a close fight doesn't make it a robbery. And this fight was probably the best boxing title fight of the year. And it was a super close fight. Look, like, I'm not mad Beterbiev won, even though I scored it to Bivol. I wasn't mad that one of the judges scored it 7-5, because at worst, for either fighter, it's 7-5 apiece. At worst. Or even, you could even make a stronger argument that the fight was a draw. Right? The thing that annoyed me, and pretty much annoyed everyone, was the scorecard that was 116-112. Bivol only won 4 rounds. Sack that judge, because he must have been watching a different sport. He thought Bivol didn't win any more than 2 rounds. And this is the biggest issue of boxing at the moment. Like, the judges, what judges look for, right? Because look, the main theme of the fight was Beterbiev walking down Bivol, taking center stage. Beterbiev trying to land those power punches, right? And if you'd never watched boxing before, and you just decided that you want to watch that fight, and you see Beterbiev, taking center stage, looking like he's landing the shots. Even when I watched it back, most of the shots were bouncing off the glove, because it was a good defense from Bivol. But if you'd never watched the fight before, or if you're a casual like most of us are, and you see that, you're thinking, look, Bivol, he's under pressure. Beterbiev is sticking it on him. The shots are landing through. But it wasn't like that, because I'll pull up the statistics, right? The end of fight statistics for the main event, right? Beterbiev threw over 1,000 punches, right? Nearly double the amount Bivol, right? Almost double the headshots thrown. But look at the punches landed. Beterbiev, for all the work rate, looking busy, he only landed 5 more punches. Obviously, he only landed... Yeah, okay, he may have landed a few more punches. Just a few. But Bivol had the more high impact one. And I know in the comments people are going to say, oh my god, look at Bivol's eye afterwards. Yeah, Bivol's eye looked a bit fucked. I have to say, it looked a bit fucked. But that's because Beterbiev is known as being the power puncher. The one that's got dynamite in those hands. Before the fight, 20 wins, 20 knockouts. So of course he's going to have dynamite in those hands, right? And I think this is the issue. Like, I thought Bivol was the cleaner, the most technical boxer. The footwork was on point. I thought to beat Beterbiev, you have to be on point. The cardio on point, the footwork on point. This is what's the most important thing with fighters now. It's not about how much you land, how much you throw. It's all about the footwork. So if the footwork's not good, the rest of it, you can forget about it. Because in boxing, if you don't have elite footwork, you're not going to be elite. Unless you've got that one, people are going to say Deontay Wilder hasn't got a great footwork. Yeah, he hasn't got great footwork. But he's got a dynamite right hand. Dynamite. Right? So these stats just prove to me that I definitely looked on screen that, yeah, I can see why the judges scored it 7-5 for Beterbiev. Because he looked busier. It's the same with the UFC, right? Because people moan about the UFC judges. Okay, not as much as the boxing judges, right? It's judges like fighters that have that ring. What's the right word? It's like I wouldn't say know what they're doing. Sort of like can stand the center of the ring and walk down their opponent. Judges seem to like that because it shows dominance, right? Walking down the opponent. Some fighters like being the one that stands on the center, walks down the opponent, backing up the guy against the ropes. What happens if you're in the ring with a guy that's okay with being on the back foot? Good head movement, good footwork, can get in and out. The punches, the hand speed, just as good. Because what happens then with the judges? Because I think that's the crazy thing. Like the term robbery gets so overused. So overused. Was Dmitry Bivol robbed? No. Should Artur Beterbiev won? In my eyes, no. I thought Bivol won. But it was such a close fight that if you flip it either way, whoever won the fight, whichever one won, I think people would be upset for either. But I don't think people would be as much as upset if Bivol won. I think most of the people online and probably the judges, like when the commentators were doing their judges' scorecards, most of them had Bivol up. But it's not robbery. Like, okay, if the Beterbiev card was completely was 120 was 116, 112 across all 3 judges, then I'd be going, excuse me, that's a bit of a robbery. The scorecards a robbery. But if it came back as 115, 115, and one of the judges scored it a draw, which they did, which I thought if they would have scored it a draw, I would have gone and been like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can see that, yeah. Very even fighters. But I thought Bivol, for me, I just thought Bivol was better. I just thought Bivol was better, deserved it. He threw less punches, but was just as accurate. You see what I mean? It's like playing football. If I'm taking 100 shots and I only score 10, but my mate's taking 100 and scored 50, Who do you want to stick up front? Me or my mate? You're sticking my mate up front because he doesn't. He won't take as many chances to score as I would. And I think that's the. I do think they need to change. I don't know how you change it really, because it's all about perspective. It's all about how you see fighting, how you see combat sports. Because me and Cal scored it, Bivol. Drifty, when shout out to Drifty as well, when he joined the stream, he scored it, Bivol, as well. Some people scored it, Beterbiev, like online. People were saying, congratulations, Beterbiev, deserved to win. Good fight. But it wasn't a robbery. And now we're going to get a rematch. You know, His Excellency would like a rematch, and he will grant us the wish that we're going to get a rematch between Beterbiev, Bivol for all the marbles for Riyadh season again for next year. It's going to be an excellent fight again, as expected. I just have this unfortunate feeling that I think Beterbiev could retain, because let's be honest, right? Like, okay, I had to hold a bit of an L because and actually I held a W because I said Beterbiev would win by decision, because I thought Beterbiev would have won by decision, but I think I saw the fight, and at the end I was like, oh, okay, Bivol's won this. So yeah, it's a very tricky one. But the fact that that Eddie Hearn shout robbery this, robbery that, robbery that, I'm like, Eddie, you're suffering too many L's, my friend. You've suffered too many L's this year. You just need to hold that one. It's not a robbery. Yes, moan at the scorecard that scored it 116, 112. Yes, absolutely moan about that. But the 115, 113, that was the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario was a 115, 113. Worst case scenario. But 116, 112, ridiculous. That judges needs to rewatch that fight, and I reckon he'd probably score it differently. But hey ho, great fight, great main event. Hopefully we do get a rematch next year. It's going to be an absolute classic. Can Bivol get his revenge, or will Beterbiev add another loss on the record? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Let me know if you agree, disagree, like or dislike what I said. But moving on, co-main event time. Fabio Wardley versus Big Fraser Clarke. Oh, whoo. Well. Wardley put a dent in the side of Fraser Clarke's face. I was just amazed watching that, because sorry, I better take this down now because we don't need that anymore. I thought the shot, the lander for the jaw, I thought his jaw was fucked, by the way. Jaw was fucked off that punch, and yet it was fucked because Fraser Clarke had had some procedure on his jaw. And do you know what the beautiful thing was? Like, yes, it was a good fight, but it's just respect between the two fighters afterwards. The build-up was nice and respectful. There's no beef, no animosity. It's just like, I think I'm better than you. I know, which is what you want to do. You don't want any like big feet beef. I thought it was a good fight, great fight. Hey, look, it could be very interesting to see what Wardley's going to do now, because this is for his British. I believe it was for his British title. Is it time for him to get a step up? I do think it is a time to step up. Maybe go off some European belts. For me, is what he's going to need to do now. Don't think he's at the world level yet, but he's definitely got potential based on that performance. And for Fraser Clarke, just make a quick recovery, my friend. Make a speedy, quick recovery. Just hope everything's blessed and okay. But yeah, what a great fight. Devastating knockout. in a moment where Clarke tagged in and I thought, oh, hello. Clarke's getting back into it, and then boom! Beautiful hook. Beautiful hook shot to the jaw. Lovely. Moving on. Chris Eubanks Jr. Versus his opponent, which I can't pronounce the name, so I don't want to butcher it. Clinical performance from Eubanks Jr. It's a shock when you put fighters in that aren't at his level. Yeah, it was a pretty easy win. I think Eubanks Jr. is now he's one of the governing bodies. Basically, he won the belt at 160. Which one it is, God knows, because they make belts. Different organization, new belt. But this wasn't the big talking point, right? This wasn't the big talking point. This build-up, this camp, this fight week. It's all about Conor Benn, him and Conor Benn again. And people know what I think about drug cheats in combat sports fighting. They should be banned, right? Because especially in boxing, people have died in the boxing ring. People have suffered irreversible damage in the boxing ring, right? And I was very uncomfortable when Eubanks Jr. and Conor Benn got made the first time around, before this whole thing. There was even drug testing before that, right? And when they agreed at 156, which I thought, you are literally killing Eubanks Jr. Lowest he's ever weighed in is about 160. Conor Benn's jumping up from like 147, right? The fight made no sense. Made no sense. It only made sense because of Dad's fault. That was it. There was like, there wasn't like a division between them, an easy jump up in weight. Could have been an intriguing fight. This was several divisions and about a 15-pound limit, 15-pound gap around that, right? About a 13-pound gap, 147 to 160. And then the whole the egg thing happens. He pops. And let's be real, this guy's a cheat, Conor Benn. This guy's a cheat. This guy should be banned proper. And the only reason why he's piping up in Saudi and stuff like that, because he can't fight in the UK because he's still banned. His career in the UK, as of now, is stalled because he can't fight in the UK because that board still banned him, right? Which sort of throws into the the drug testing, blah 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 blah, stuff like that, right? But I'm not going to really touch into that. And I just think I didn't care about the fight before. I was more worried about Eubanks Jr.'s health. And I don't care about the fight now. Like, Conor Benn needs this fight more than Chris Eubanks Jr., in my opinion. Because, let's be honest, if anyone's seen Conor Benn's performances since he's come back from popping, hasn't really got that pip in his step, has he? Hasn't got that knockout power. Looks a little bit sluggish. It's almost like the drugs have worn off. Yeah, looks like that the drugs have worn off. Just does not look the same fighter again. And Chris Eubanks Jr. was rightly so in the ring. If you're on the fight me coming up to 168, 170, I'm not fucking cutting weight for you. I'm not fucking cutting weight for you. You're fucking kidding me. After what I did for our last event, where he still successfully made 156, by the way, even though the fight got cancelled because Eubanks Jr. wanted to prove a point. But this fight should not be happening. And the fact that Eddie's trying to push this fight, yeah, it's a big fight. Yeah, it might have been big domestically if the weights sort of lined up and Conor Benn wasn't a little rat, a little drugs cheat. Do British fans even care about this? Two fighters that have got underwhelming legacies compared to their fathers. Like Conor Benn, he fought one of note, really? Not particularly. Has Chris Eubanks Jr. fought anyone with significance and beaten? No? Any top-level boxer he's beaten? Not really. Lost to Joel Grove, lost to Billy Jones, Joe Saunders. Nearly 10 years ago, by the way, he lost to Billy Joe. 10 years ago, lost to Billy Joe Saunders. Since then, who's he fought? Who's Chris Eubanks Jr. fought? He hasn't fought anyone. And then got knocked out, quit on his stool against Liam Smith. And all due respect to Liam Smith, he's a dog, he's a warrior. A good, solid pro. But when you're talking about wanting to fight Canelo, I'm thinking, ugh, not really. If Chris Eubanks Jr. fought Canelo, it would go the same way as Amir Khan versus Canelo. Knockout loss. Knockout loss. So this is why this fight's going to happen, because both of these fighters have got underwhelming careers. Yes, does Conor Benn have time on his side? Yes, because he's still in his 20s. Chris Eubanks Jr. is 35. He's at peak physical condition. He's at peak everything, peak athlete, peak shape, peak condition. And you're fighting a fight that doesn't do anything. And Conor Benn does nothing for you. It's not a big name. The only reason why he's big is because the last name is Benn. If it was Colin Smith and his dad wasn't famous, and you got a little chirpy little welterweight wanting to fight you, and you're thinking, who the fuck are you? But it's only because it's Benn and Eubank. That's why people go, oh my god, this is interesting. It's not interesting. And as much as I don't rate Eubanks' boxing ability, he would destroy Conor Benn. He would destroy him. That's why this makes no sense. And but by the looks of it, it's probably going to happen in February, because His Excellency sort of announced that it's going to be Matchroom versus Queensbury 5-on-5. We're going to get the rematch of Dubois, AJ, and then they're going to try and shove that fight on the card as well, which will be such a shit show. To be honest, be such a shit show. I cannot wait to watch that shit show, because I'll probably not watch long for it as well, as much as I've slagged it off, because Conor Benn should be banned for life. But hey, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Conor Benn versus Chris Eubanks Jr. Because let's be honest, I am not. It's a very hard sell. It's a very hard sell considering what Conor Benn's done. It's a very hard sell. Yeah, I'll also touch on a couple of the other fights. We'll talk about the women. The first women's boxing fight in Saudi Arabia: Sky Nicholson versus Raven Chapman. Pretty much as expected, really. Raven Chapman had some good bits, but it's just the champ does what the champ does best: gets to a decision win. Looked a bit slow and sluggish in the early rounds, and then she really settled into it and showed why she's the champion. Really, don't know what she's gonna do now. Her versus Amanda Serrano, if possible, because that is one of Serrano's belts that she let go because she wants to do 3-minute, 12-minute, 12 3-minute rounds, which is all respect to her, 'cause she wants equal pay for the women. But what does, considering the depth of quality in that division, do Sky Nicholson and do the promotion teams try to get a fight to happen? Nicholson versus Serrano, we shall see. But Serrano's got other business against Katie Taylor on the Jake Paul Mike Tyson card, which would be fucking hilarious. But it is what it is. But I'll just touch on the last fight. Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron. Talk about not backing up your talk. Liam Whittaker, bit of a showman. I've seen his last couple of fights. Good showman, some good skill. But took the easy way out by thinking that it was the Royal Rumble. By him and Cameron both going off the top rope. In a fight where Whittaker started off well, I thought, hello. looking good on the feet, it's looking sharp, looking good. And then you saw Cameron just grow into the fight a bit, and you thought, shit, Whitaker's in some big trouble. And then Whitaker sort of up against the fence, Cameron's closing the distance, and then they go for a tumble. And then he gets injured, sat in a wheelchair. But when you look at the replay, where's he got that injury? Because you can't see where he hurt himself. You just can't see where he's hurt himself, which is very weird. Fight ended up in the split decision draw, which controversial. Are they going to run it back? Yes, they'll probably run it back in February, providing the injury's not so serious. But can't wait to see those scans on that injury. Cannot wait. Will those scans come out? Probably not, but it is what it is. But right, guys, I'm just going to wrap it up here. It's just a quick little 25-ish minute video, just reviewing Bivol versus Beterbiev. But everyone that's tuned in, make sure to smash the like button, share button, and subscribe button as well. Make sure to subscribe to the Sanderson Show, Jamie Phillips Football Chats. I'll also add Drifty's channel as well in the description as well, because he did join me for bits of that watch long as well. And then also I'll put a link into the watch long so you can tune into that as well. What's on the channel next? I'm not too sure what's on the channel next. I'll probably touch on UFC 310. Main card has announced, which was very interesting. I broke that live on the watch long actually about the UFC 310 card. So we'll go through that as well and much more. And also be doing previewing the PFL card, Francis Ngannou's return against Ferreira. So make sure to check that out on the channel with Jamie and Callum. But everyone that is tuned in, make sure to hit the like button, share button, and subscribe button. And I will see you all very soon. Peace.